The most terrifying villains in horror movies. Here's a detailed exploration of the most terrifying villains in horror movies, analyzing what makes them so frightening, their impact on the genre, and why they continue to haunt audiences long after the credits roll. These villains are not just scary, they are iconic figures that have redefined horror cinema. Freddy Krueger, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger, the dream-stalking serial killer from A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984, is one of the most terrifying villains in horror history. Created by Wes Craven, Freddy preys on teenagers in their dreams, making him an inescapable threat. Why he's terrifying? Unstoppable nature. Freddy exists in the dream world, where the rules of reality don't apply. This makes him nearly impossible to defeat. Sadistic humor. Unlike other slasher villains, Freddy enjoys taunting and tormenting his victims, often using dark humor to heighten their fear. Appearance. His burned face, striped sweater, and bladed glove are instantly recognizable and deeply unsettling. Freddy's ability to invade the one place where people feel safe, their dreams, makes him a uniquely terrifying villain. His influence on the horror genre is immense, inspiring countless imitators and solidifying his place as a horror icon. Michael Myers, Halloween. Michael Myers, the silent, emotionless killer from John Carpenter's Halloween, 1978, is the archetype of the slasher villain. His relentless pursuit of his victims and his lack of motive make him a terrifying force of nature. Why he's terrifying? Mystery. Michael's lack of backstory and motive adds to his fear factor. He is pure evil, with no explanation or redemption. Silence. Unlike other villains, Michael never speaks. His silence and slow, deliberate movements make him even more menacing. Mask. The blank, expressionless mask he wears dehumanizes him, turning him into an unstoppable killing machine. Michael Myers redefined the slasher genre, inspiring countless films and villains. His presence is a constant reminder that evil can strike anywhere, even in the quietest suburban neighborhoods. Pennywise, the dancing clown, It. Pennywise, the shape-shifting entity from Stephen King's It, is one of the most terrifying villains in horror. Whether in the 1990 miniseries or the 2017 and 2019 films, Pennywise preys on children's deepest fears, often appearing as a clown to lure them in. Why he's terrifying? Shape-shifting. Pennywise can take on any form, often appearing as whatever his victims fear most. This makes him a deeply personal and psychological threat. Clown persona. The contrast between his cheerful clown appearance and his malevolent nature creates a sense of unease. Clowns are already a source of fear for many, and Pennywise exploits this perfectly. Ancient evil. Pennywise is not just a clown, he's an ancient, cosmic entity that feeds on fear. His true form is incomprehensible and horrifying. Pennywise's ability to exploit fear and his iconic portrayal by Tim Curry and Bill Skarsgård have made him a lasting figure in horror. Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Leatherface, the chainsaw-wielding killer from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974, is a brutal and primal villain. Based loosely on real-life serial killer Ed Gein, Leatherface is a member of a deranged family that preys on unsuspecting victims. Brutality. Leatherface's use of a chainsaw as a weapon is visceral and horrifying. His kills are messy and chaotic, adding to the terror. Mask. He wears masks made from the skin of his victims, dehumanizing himself and adding a grotesque layer to his character. Family dynamic. Leatherface is part of a twisted family, making him even more disturbing. His actions are driven by a warped sense of loyalty and survival. Leatherface's raw, unfiltered violence and his connection to real-life horrors make him one of the most terrifying villains in horror history. The Xenomorph, Alien. The Xenomorph from Ridley Scott's Alien, 1979, is a perfect organism designed to kill. Its biomechanical design, created by H.R. Geiger, is both beautiful and horrifying. Why it's terrifying. Design. The Xenomorph's sleek, insect-like appearance and its phallic, biomechanical features make it deeply unsettling. Unpredictability. The Xenomorph is highly intelligent and adaptable, making it a formidable opponent. Life cycle. Its parasitic reproduction, involving facehuggers and chestbursters, adds a layer of body horror that is both grotesque and terrifying. The Xenomorph's combination of science fiction and horror elements has made it one of the most iconic and terrifying creatures in cinema. Regan MacNeil Pazuzu, The Exorcist. Regan MacNeil, the possessed girl in The Exorcist, 1973, is one of the most chilling figures in horror. The demon Pazuzu, which possesses her, turns a sweet young girl into a vessel of pure evil. Why it's terrifying. Psychological horror. The idea of a child being possessed by a demon taps into deep-seated fears about innocence corrupted. Physical transformation. Regan's physical changes, including her contorted body and grotesque appearance, are horrifying. Religious themes. The film's exploration of faith and evil adds a layer of existential terror. The Exorcist remains one of the most influential horror films of all time, and Regan's possession is a key reason why. The Babadook. The Babadook, from Jennifer Kent's The Babadook, 2014, is a psychological horror villain that represents grief and trauma. The creature emerges from a children's book and torments a grieving mother and her son. Symbolism. The Babadook is a manifestation of unresolved grief and depression, making it a deeply personal and psychological threat. Design. Its gaunt, shadowy appearance and unsettling movements are haunting. Emotional impact. The film's exploration of mental health and the toll of grief makes the Babadook a uniquely terrifying villain. The Babadook's ability to tap into real-life fears and emotions sets it apart from traditional horror villains. These villains, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Pennywise, Leatherface, the Xenomorph, Regan MacNeil Pazuzu, and the Babadook, represent the pinnacle of horror cinema. They terrify us not just through their actions, but through their ability to tap into our deepest fears, whether they be psychological, physical, or existential. Their impact on the genre is undeniable, and they continue to haunt audiences, proving that true horror is timeless.